Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Rogue Media. My name is Alex Schlerf, and today I'm going to be doing my review for The Bear Season 4. I usually don't do TV show reviews on YouTube, as you know, but I was starting to write my review for this, for the site, and I kind of realized that I'd rather talk about it instead of doing a written review, and it's a little easier to do. I was going like episode by episode. It's kind of just difficult to do that in written format without making it like a summary instead of my opinion. So doing it on here on YouTube, and there's gonna be, I think, a non-spoiler section and a spoiler section for this, so that'll be in the timestamps in the description and on the YouTube thing. So if you haven't seen the Bear season 4 yet, which I know probably a lot of people haven't because they dropped all 10 episodes only like 3 days ago, and I'll probably talk about that release thing in a little bit because it's not something I really enjoy. But yeah, there's going to be, if you haven't seen it yet, there's going to be a non-spoiler section to start off here, then probably a smaller spoiler section with some of the later stuff that happens in the season. But yeah, my experience with the show is that I really fell in love with it with the first two seasons. I didn't watch it as it came out, but I think I watched like a year after. And I literally just fell in love with the characters, with the concept, the way it's shot, with the acting, everything about it. I just fell in love with the show. And I thought that in season 3, it kind of dropped off a little bit. I thought it was just fine. Way back when, I think I actually record. There's an episode on Spotify, I think, of me recording my review for it, but I don't even know where that is, if that's even live anymore. But I thought it was fine. I just thought a lot didn't really happen, and it kind of failed to capture the magic of seasons 1 and 2. It wasn't like bad per se, because like obviously it wouldn't be because the same creatives that are at work here, but I thought it kind of dropped in terms of level compared to what we got from the first two seasons of this show. And that's probably partly because the standard was raised so high, and anything that, like a mediocre season of The Bear is probably a really good season for the average show. But I was really looking forward to season 4 because I was hoping they would get back to that, elite level of season 1 and 2, which made it one of the best shows on television. And I am here to say that I believe that they have gotten back to that level, and season 4 is a return to form for one of, that's probably the title of this video, a return to form for one of the best television shows on TV right now. And I think it's interesting because a lot of the reviews for this season, at least from what I've seen from critics and fans alike, have been around the season 3 level or maybe even lower, and kind of relatively negative about this season as a whole. And it's so interesting because I saw that going into watching this, and I knew that ahead of time. I try my hardest to avoid, opinions of other people before I see stuff, because I want to be able to form my own opinion and not have any other thing making me maybe lean one way or the other. But I saw it just on Twitter about, like, I think it was a lower Rotten Tomatoes score, and I saw a couple articles from like Variety and Deadline saying it got repetitive, and a couple fans were like, who binged it all in one night, were saying they didn't enjoy it as much, and I was like, I don't really understand it, because I was watching this, and even from episode 1, I was really enjoying it. And again, I think it is there with the first two seasons in terms of quality. And even if you don't want to say that, it is a clear step ahead of season 3 for me. And again, like season 3 was fine, it wasn't bad, but this, you don't even need to compare it to season 3. This is just a really good season by itself. And obviously, going into the positives, you always have to start with the cast, and you have to start with the main trio of actors. Jeremy Allen White, Eben Moss-Bachrach, and Io Debris, who's kind of like the main trio of who's been throughout their entire show. And all three of them just, I want to start actually with Eben Moss-Bachrach as Richie, and he's been a character that has been so beloved because of the arc he went on in season 2, and how hilarious and enjoyable he was in season 1. They didn't give him too much to do in season 3, like they didn't really give anyone to do much in season 3, but he's been one of the most beloved characters, and one of the concerns there could be is that how do you elevate his arc after what happened in season 2, and how it kind of ended between him and Carmen and their kind of, tumultuous relationship. But I absolutely adored his arc this season, and mostly it has to do with him trying to find himself, and this new self that he's acquired, and how he will kind of act around the bear in the restaurant. And also, the other big focus is his relationship with his ex-wife Tiff, who's played by Jillian Jacobs, and how he deals with that and his relationship with his daughter in relation to that. And obviously, one of the big episodes of this season is Tiff getting married. I don't think it's really a spoiler, but apologies if it is. And the way that is played out, and I can't talk about it too much without getting into spoilers, but the way they play that out and the way his arc kind of is fully seen from episode 1 to episode 10, I enjoyed so much. And I enjoyed everyone's arc this season, really, but his is what I have to start with because I thought Richie's arc was so strong this season. And again, it is so difficult to write a character like him where they have already gone through such a huge transformation in the show. So the fact they were able to give him some more substance and an actual, visible arc in this season is complete credit to the writers and obviously Christopher Storer, the creator. I just enjoyed his arc so much this season. And then to go to the other two, obviously. Jeremy Allen White as Carmy is kind of the main character of this show, and it was another arc that I really enjoyed because they really explore his relationship with his mother, and it's really his mother and Claire, like his I guess former lover, you could say. And they really go into depth about the mother storyline, and they kind of don't shy away from the Claire storyline because I know the fans of this show have not really responded well to the kind of Claire storyline, which I don't totally get, to be honest. And another positive for me, but I'll just talk about it now. I don't really understand the hate for the Claire thing. Like, I really do enjoy Claire as a character. I think Molly Gordon, who's the actor, is great as the character. I think the chemistry between her and Jeremy Allen White is really strong, and I think it's a really interesting thing in terms of like exploring relationships and not like toxic relationships, but confusing relationships. And it's like this show doesn't really explore love too much, and I think at least in the first three seasons it's kind of been there, but they haven't gone super into depth. And I think with Richie and his ex-wife, and now with Jeremy Allen White, Carmy and Claire, I think they really do explore it a lot more this season. Maybe that was a problem for others. They think they didn't explore it in the right way. I think it was the perfect amount. And again, I did really enjoy Carmi and Claire's kind of back and forth this season, and it's not straight line. They don't like get back together right away. Like it's a slow burn, and they still, it doesn't really reach a conclusion yet. Like there's still more to tell in that story, but the way they play it out is really interesting to me, and I think it is done very well. And obviously, Jeremy Allen White is just in general always amazing. And there was multiple episodes where they're really showing off his acting chops. Specifically episode 7, episode 10. Just off the top of my head, they're giving him the chance to show off his acting chops and how good he is and why he's won so many awards for the show and just in general in his career and why his career has taken off. And he deserves all that. And then last is obviously Iowa Debris, and she gives a lot of nuance to her performance this season. And it's one of those things where, like, I think out of the three, she probably is required to do the least in terms of like really in-depth acting, and I guess acting chops is the kind of a buzzword I've been using in this episode. But specifically, there's an episode where she learns, I think it's episode 4 or 5, where she learns again, I can't go into it without spoiling it, but she learns a thing about, one of her close family members, and it's a very sad thing that happens. And the way she acts it out and shows that emotion, it literally had me in tears. Like, for somebody that is a fictional character that I shouldn't even care about, but she plays it out so well in such a devastating way, and it carries over to the next episode where again she's just portraying this amazing emotional acting, and I just appreciated it so much, her portrayal of this character this season. And I don't think it's because her arc is. I was gonna say I don't think she's a huge arc, but now that I'm thinking about it, obviously with how season 3 left off, this season she's dealing with, should I stay with the restaurant? Should I go to the restaurant owned by Shapiro, or kind of have more freedom, or do I stick it out with the bear? And how do I kind of reconcile with all these thoughts about me wanting to leave? And that is really interesting. And I think that the whole Shapiro plot was kind of strange, and I think it made sense with how she's kind of thinking about leaving the bear, but I wish they would have kind of like, I'm trying to think about how to put this. I wish they would have, because Shapiro as a character in his kind of restaurant was just not interesting to me. I guess I'm not supposed to be getting at negatives right now, but I am. That whole plot like wasn't really interesting to me, and I do think it's interesting the fact that she was thinking about leaving the bear and kind of going through her thoughts on that and trying to kind of work it out with the other characters and stuff, and the fact that they don't know at the beginning of the season. Um, and I just wish that the alternative was more interesting and felt like a more appealing option. Because like something about the Shapiro guy is just off. Like something about it is just the whole season, and since we've met him is just I don't know, something's off about it. Maybe that's just me. But anyway, Iowa's great in this season. All three of them deserve to win awards again. I mean, they're all so good, and it extends the supporting cast as well. You know, Abby Elliott, Lionel Boyce, Liza Colon-Zayas, who doesn't have as much to do this season, but still. Who else? I mean, then you go to the guest stars. You know, John Bernthal has a more minimal role this season, but still, there's one of the opening scenes in the show is him, and he's great with Jeremy Allen White. And then episode seven, I'm not gonna get into all the cameos because I don't want to spoil it, but episode seven is basically, and that's the longest episode of the season, is basically like an all-star cast of actors. Like it's a lot of the actors from the Seven Fishes episode, and there's a couple new ones in there as well. Episode four, there's a good cameo, which I'll talk about in a second, and an actor that I really like, or I've really liked recently. But yeah, the creators allow these actors to do their absolute best in these roles, and I just, again, that is always the number one positive of these seasons is, and specifically one, two, and four, is how good the cast is. And again, I'm really hoping that the Emmys or Golden Globes or whatever doesn't get fatigue from this show and doesn't kind of think, oh, they've already won three times. This is a thing that happens in a lot of awards things, whether it's in sports or entertainment or whatever. I hope they don't get fatigue off this cast because again, Jeremy, Io, and Eben all deserve to win once again. And again, it's not a surprise that their careers have all taken off, you know, since this show has happened. You know, Eben going into Marvel and all that, Jeremy Allen White in the Bruce Springsteen movie. Io's got a couple different things going on with A24. I think she's got a movie with Andrew Garfield and Julie Garner this year, or later this year. So they're all so good, the main trio. But again, it's the whole cast. And I'm gonna forget people. Oliver Platt, another good one. Who else? I'm trying to, I don't want to forget anybody, so I don't want to just go listing everybody, but amazing cast, and that's the first positive about this. And I think to go into another positive, it is really the emotional heart in this season. I've kind of touched on that through the, because the main positives, talking about the cast, can kind of spread into the rest of the positives, kind of talked about so far. But I think the main thing is the emotional heart in this season. And again, that is told through our main cast, but there's a narrative about love and there's a narrative about family and there's a narrative about the storyline. I'm trying to think of what the best like one word to encapsulate the storyline about, you know, Sydney either leaving the bear or staying. I guess that would be like belonging and again that kind of goes with the found family aspect. And again, that emotional heart is, if it's not the cast, is the true anchor of the show, is how emotionally connected you get to these characters and how attached you get to them and just how they're written and how good it is and how it brings in the right characters at the right time and the I think this show can kind of turn off a lot of people and this is weirdly similar to what I said in my review about Materialists, and go check that out if you haven't already. I think a show like this that is very kind of slow paced and very minimalistic. Not like minimalist. There's a lot of themes going on, but like it is similar to Materialist, where like there's a lot of scenes where it is literally just two actors acting. Like it is not no. There's no huge action going on. It's not super fast, quippy dialogue. Like literally, the first scene of the season is John Bernthal and Jeremy Allen White talking for like 10 minutes, just back and forth. They don't move. They're in the same spot. They're literally just having a conversation for 10 minutes. And I listen, I know that doesn't work for some people, and I can understand that. I can't say I can appreciate it, but I can understand that. But for me, similar to Materialists, again, I did not think I would be making a comparison to Materialists today, but um, similar to that movie and similar to the filmmakers that use that kind of style, they are really making you placed right into the story and make you really feel the emotion from these characters because it is so real and it is rooted in real stuff. Um, there's not as much of like the first two seasons. It was especially the first season was kind of like a stress kitchen vibe, and that was what they're going for is this high stress environment and similar to like shows like The Pit that we've seen. There is still moments like that, and there is a lot of moments of them during service and kind of what messes up, but that's why I don't really understand the complaints about this show getting repetitive because like season one and kind of part of two are so much about that stress kitchen environment and kind of what happens, you know, the season two finale or the season one finale where Sydney leaves the orders on and everyone's running around and kind of everything goes to you know what. And then season two finale where Carmi gets locked in the fridge and and Richie takes over and all that, like all that stuff. You don't get that at all in season 3 or 4. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I think it's positive because this show needs to evolve. It can't be every season is just, oh, we're all stressed in the kitchen and oh, we need to beat the clock and all that. And there is a clock in the season, obviously, but in a different way. They didn't really show the service a lot at all this season. In fact, like the how do I tiptoe around this without spoiling it? Like one of the really key services that they have towards the end of the season in episode 10, or I guess kind of in episode 9, they don't even show at all because that is not the most important thing. Although the show is about the restaurant, and there's a lot of kind of meta narratives about this that they get into, especially in the last episode. But although the show is about the restaurant, it isn't at the same time. Like it is about the characters and these characters that we've learned to love and learned to care about so much. So I think that that is what makes the show so strong is how real it is. And again, they have evolved. I don't get the repetitive narratives because they have definitely evolved. I mean, season 3, let's just put that aside. From season 1 and 2 to 4, they have evolved in the sense where it's not just this crazy kitchen environment. Like that barely plays in a part. That barely plays a part in the show at all. Like there's certain things that happen. Like again, in the first episode, there's a clock that's introduced, and it's kind of this isn't a spoiler because it's literally the plot of the season. They introduce a clock and computer. I can't believe his name computer and Uncle Cicero both come in and they say you have 2 months to improve the profits or this place is getting shut down. And so there is a clock in that sense, and there's like a lot of quippy dialogue in that scene, which is great, obviously, and I love that. And kind of reminded me of the first couple seasons and the beginning of season 3 as well. And there is good things to season 3. Like I don't want to act like season 3 is all bad. Like there is very good stuff in season 3. I just thought it was whatever. But because of the review they got in season 3, there's this clock and they have 2 months. Kind of we see how the characters react to that. But again, that although it is like the overarching storyline of this season is how they save the restaurant, it is totally not about that. And it takes kind of a more detailed look at it and a more detailed thinking about it. But again, I'm here to tell you that like that is what this season is about, is the characters and is a very layered story and is a very layered look into these themes that I was mentioning earlier. So yeah, I'm kind of like not really being formatted here and not really going to like +1, +2, +3. But again, you talk about those main things like the main cast and then the main themes that spreads in everything that's good about this show. And yeah, I think that there's not a lot more that I can get into without spoilers. But again, like I'm trying to really like grasp what the complaints about the season are. I think I don't want to like make fun of or kind of like taunt fans that the like diehard fans of the show, and I think I'm one of them. But like I feel like a lot of the reaction on Twitter and this is the case with a lot of shows and movies these days, which is sad. But I think a lot of the reaction on Twitter and online about this season is like people made a headcanon in their show for certain different things or for the show for certain different things and for things they wanted to happen in this season or just in the show in general. And when they don't play out exactly how they wanted, they complain. And that's not the case for like the reliable news outlets like Variety and Deadline. Like they have actual reasons. And I'm not saying they're wrong. Like this is at the end of the day, it's opinionated. You know, some people are gonna like it, some people are gonna hate it. And I didn't say people hated it, but still, like this is what it is. I'm not complaining about people having a different opinion because a lot of people have a sound basis for it, and certain things worked for where certain things work for me that didn't work for other people. But my point is like a lot of people have these things that they wanted to happen to certain characters that are pretty unrealistic, and when they don't happen, they hate on it and say the creators have lost their idea, they've lost ideas, and they've no idea what they're talking about. Like, I hate to see that. And it's a lot of it goes to like people shipping Sydney and Carmi. Like, early on I kind of was there with like I kind of understood that, but like now it's like they're just not in love. Like there's no love whatsoever between the two of them. And I guess I'm gonna make people angry about that if anyone's watching this that likes that romance, but I'm sorry. Like there was literally nothing there. I'm gonna flat out say that there was nothing there between those two in terms of romance. I really don't understand what people are going where people are finding that kind of thought. I don't understand it. But anyway, I think that might be where some of the problems come with this season is that people have created this thought in their head and that's the first thing. And then the second thing is the repetition. People said it's getting repetitive. It's all, the same conversation between Sydney, Carmi, and Richie. And I just disagree. I think if you think that you didn't finish the season, you start off the season in episode 1, and it is very similar vibes to the start of season 3, 2, and 1, or not really 1, but it is very similar vibes to the start of season 3 and season 2. But I think if you watch the season more, you see that there is more nuanced arcs throughout the season. And I just went through them with the main 3 characters. And I think those three arcs were still super interesting, and obviously I said specifically Richie's in general, or kind of out of the three. But I don't know. I think that I really enjoyed this season. I think that again, it is to me similar in quality to season one and two, and I think that I still slightly prefer season one and two, just because those are like just some of the best seasons of television I've ever seen. Um, Forks from season two is like probably my favorite episode of television, literally ever. I'm not even kidding about that. That'd be a good video to do, like my top episodes of television. Anyway, maybe a top for another day, but yeah. That's what I'm gonna say. Is if I were to rank the seasons, I'd say season. Oh, how would I choose in season two and one? I think season two, season one, season four, and then a little bit of gap, season three. But yeah, I'm gonna get in a slight spoiler section in a second here. So like if you have to hop off, and thank you for watching to this point. Let's just. I'm trying to think if I have anything else to say before spoilers. This won't be a long spoiler section. I'm just trying to think if I have anything that I want to talk about that may be predictions for the future of the season. No, so let's just get into spoilers. So this will be the spoiler section. So click off right now if you haven't seen the season. I've been mentioning a lot about episode seven and kind of how impactful that episode is, and obviously that is kind of like the Seven Fishes episode of this season. The Seven Fishes like was the long dinner episode in season two. And yeah, I've already talked about it a little bit, but the cast is just so like literally the fact they're able to get all these amazing actors in one episode, and like even with the scene under the table, they're able to get all these actors under like in one camera shot. Like they're all literally in one shot and they're circling around. Like I think it's just so good. And for the people that I haven't talked about yet, like Jamie Lee Curtis isn't really a lot in that episode seven, but I'll talk about her in a second because she has, I think it's episode eight or nine, which she has a great scene with Jeremy Allen White. But in this episode, you have Josh Hartnett coming back. Again, I mentioned Jillian Jacobs, John Mulaney. Brie Larson makes a cameo in this episode. Not like a huge role, but she's great as always. Um, who else is in this episode? I'm trying to literally think of that scene where everyone goes around. But anyway, it's like the main cast and then those couple guest stars as well. I don't know if Jillian Jacobs counts as a guest star, but anyway, that episode is just so good and how they explore love and specifically, like I already mentioned, with Richie and Tiff, the ending between them where they're dancing and Richie is kind of reconciled with his emotions and he's at peace with what's happened, but Tiff is kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum and is thinking about how none of her family has showed up except for Richie. Like I was crying at that. Like that was just so beautiful, such a beautiful moment, and such a interesting narrative on their love story to this point and how it's been, through seasons one through three and even in this season as well. I think they have a phone conversation early on in the season. Yeah, I just loved they're not like love story because they're not in love anymore, obviously, but that kind of love narrative in that episode and just in general there of love. Like you have Claire and Carmi, um you have Jamie Lee Curtis and Jeremy Allen White. I'm trying to think of Donna and her son Carmi. So it's not only love like in terms of like actual romantic love, but it's familial love as well. What else was in this episode? You have Josh Hartnett's character and kind of not knowing what to do, getting into getting into the Brasato family. You got Brie Larson's character and Natalie as well. Like we're learning about their past and how they kind of reconcile at the end. I just think the whole episode is not only enjoyable because again, it's just a collection of amazing actors just putting in work, but again, I think the whole episode serves as a narrative about familial love and also romantic love, and I think those are both done really well. I'm trying to think of what other spoiler stuff I want to talk about. So Daniel Deadweiler is in episode four as in that episode with Io Debris, which kind of that full focus. She's not, excuse me, she's not in it a lot. It's kind of more of a focus on her daughter, but I really enjoyed her in the piano lesson last year, so I just wanted to shout her out because I think she's one of the best actors out there right now. Not one of the best actors right now, but one of the actors one of the actors I'm enjoying right now after seeing the piano lesson. I'll try to go see her in as much stuff as possible. And this seeing her in this, I didn't know about it beforehand. So that was really enjoyable for me. And that goes into Brie Larson appearing in episode seven as well. Those were kind of the big two celebrity cameos in this show. And unfortunately, like I got the Brie Larson thing spoiled beforehand because like, dude, I go on Twitter and like I don't want to get into this too much because it's just I don't have enough time for it. But like I go on Twitter on literally these episodes dropped on Wednesday night. On Thursday morning, I go on Twitter and I'm already seeing everybody spoiling this entire show. Like I it's so frustrating. Where like you drop 10 episodes at once. Like, I'm sorry, you drop 10 episodes at once. And this isn't even a narrative as much about like how ridiculous that episode drop is, but like you drop 10 episodes on a Wednesday night, like, right? Like, this is during a work week. Like, I know there's a lot of people out there that are unemployed and like can't are able to binge all the episodes till 4 a.m., on up into the morning of Thursday, but like I have a life. Like, I have a job. I have other things. I have family. Like, I don't have time to watch 10 episodes in one sitting. I just finished them yesterday afternoon, Friday afternoon. Um, and still, that was like a lot. Like, I spent a lot of time on it. And I wasn't able to do stuff for the site, and I wasn't able to do this is like, you know, champagne problems, or I think that's the phrase for it. Like, this is like real world problems. Like, it's not a big deal, but like, my point is more about, can we not spoil like these cameos within 24? Like, this was literally 12 hours since the episode dropped. Like, can we not spoil it? It was from an account that I like. I'm not even gonna call them out, but I tweeted about them so you can go see it. But like, can we not be spoiling this stuff like so early into it? Like, give it a week at least. Like, I thought we learned from like Marvel movies to not spoil things on Twitter, but apparently not. And I guess the same thing happens there. But like, I like, do better. Like, seriously, like I should not be seeing Brie Larson as one of the facts on Twitter the morning after I've only watched the first four episodes. Like, I'm sorry, like I have a life. I can't watch 10 episodes in one sitting. I can't see everything. I can't even watch 5 episodes in one sitting. Like, I need to spread it out a little bit. And also like to spread it out to enjoy it. Like, this show, like with how these actors and their schedules have taken off in recent years, like we don't know when the next season will come out. Like, I want to enjoy it. I want to take it and not watch it all in one sitting. But anyway, that's a whole other story. But um, yeah, I enjoyed Brie Larson this show. Her career has kind of been a bit weird in the last few years. She hasn't got a lot of work, and I'm excited to hopefully see her return to Marvel in Doomsday. But still, I love her as an actor, and her performance in Room specifically was one of like literally the best performances I've ever seen in my entire life. Go watch the movie if you haven't already. She won an Academy Award for it. But anyway, it was cool to see her and cool to see her doing work, and I hope maybe we get to see her return again. Maybe it wouldn't make any sense, but they brought pretty much everybody up. Even Odenkirk came back for this episode, and again, he has a scene with Jeremy Allen White, which is again similar to the Bernthal one I talked about earlier, where it's literally just like 5 to 7 minutes of them just going back and forth, and it's so good. It's so compelling to me. I know it doesn't work to everyone else. It's just two people talking, but I don't know why it's just so compelling to me. And Bob Odenkirk is so good, and Jeremy Allen White is so good, and Jamie Lee Curtis is so good. And Jamie Lee Curtis, like, if she does not win Best Guest Actress for this season, I don't know what to say. Like, the episode, I think it's episode 9, between her and Jeremy Allen White, and when he goes to her house, and they kind of have a moment of growth, and it really shows Carmi's mom's growth in the show. Like, Jamie Lee Curtis is just so good. And I'm not even this like huge fan of hers. Like, I'm not saying I hate her or anything, but like I barely even seen a lot of her work. Like, I really haven't, but like she is so good in this show. Like, not phoned in at all. Like, this is it's she's so good. I could not say enough positive words. Again, best guest actress in next, not this year's Emmys, but next year's Emmys. Like, please, light it up already. I don't see a lot of performances in any of their shows passing this. But yeah, the last thing I want to talk about is episode 10. And I think I've gone a little long here, so I'm not gonna go too long on this. But the last thing I want to talk about is episode 10, because I, this episode, like, and this isn't a good way, by the way. I'm saying this in a positive way. This episode left me so speechless, because it is literally three actors, most of the time two, but three actors in the same location for 30 minutes just putting in work. I don't know what better way to describe it than that, but like literally they just put the camera down and said, "Here you go, guys, we're doing it." And like, it is so good to see. First off, Sydney and Carmi, and it's not really good, like, because it sucked, because you see the falling out, and Carmi about potentially leaving the restaurant, and then Richie comes in, and you see Richie and Carmi kind of bond for the first time in like ever, like honestly ever. Like, there's a certain moment where like there's some respect there in season 2, but like it all falls apart at the end of season 2. Season 3, they're beefing. The beginning of this season, they're beefing. Like, they finally are able to have some bonding, and these two characters that we love so much for different reasons are able to come together. And just in general, the three of them coming together, it's so good. And I don't know. I was gonna say I don't know if we're getting another season, but like, this show is way too popular for us not to get another season. And obviously they kind of left it to a point where they can explore more stories. But I don't know when it's gonna come, because again, the actors are so busy now with Evan and Marvel, and Io, and with the A24 stuff, and Jeremy Allen White with just being a popular name right now. All three of them just being popular names right now. I don't know when it's going to come again, but I'm so interested to see where they go with that, and if Carmi does truly, leave the restaurant business and what he decides to do, and how he decides to explore his inner self and what he really is about, and he doesn't feel like he knows himself and learning who he is, and seeing Sydney and Richie kind of lead the restaurant with Natalie and Cicero. If they can keep it alive, what are they going to do to keep the restaurant alive, and how their personal lives are going to fit into that as well. Like I'm so curious to see where they go, and I thought that that last episode was definitely one of my favorite of the season. Like, was one of my favorites of the season. So emotional, so impactful, so meaningful. Everything about it. Like again, I'm using buzzwords, but like it is just so good. You have to see for yourself. Obviously, I mean, you should be watching this if you haven't seen it yet. But yeah, I don't know if I have much else to say besides the fact that, like, I really hope that the reaction to season 3 and 4 does not prevent them from continuing this storyline in season 5. And I hope that they keep telling the same story that they are doing from this season 4, and they don't change things because of the fan reaction. And that happens sometimes in shows. I think it's happened in a lot of popular shows before, and I think that, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Game of Thrones is something that did that. But because I haven't seen it, but I heard that Game of Thrones did that. But yeah, this season was really good. I really enjoyed this season, and I hope that the kind of when the dust settles, most people agree with me. And I have been seeing a lot of people online that do agree with me and do agree that this is a return to form for the show. But there's been that other side of things too. So I just want to make sure that, like, I acknowledge that as well. And yeah, again, if I were to rank the seasons, season 2, season 1, season 3, and oh no, season 2, season 1, season 3, a little bit of a gap. I just messed it up again. Season 2, season 1, season 4, a little bit of a gap. Season 3. That is my ranking. And again, I think this should win as many awards as possible at the 2020, I guess, 6 Emmys, because season 3 is kind of lining up for this year's Emmys. I think that's how it works. But yeah, that's it for today. Go watch the season if you love The Bear. It's really enjoyable, and I'd be curious to hear your thoughts. Again, if people disagree with me, leave it in the comments. I'm ready to debate about this, either on Twitter or on here. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. And I think I will see you again. I'm planning on writing a review, not doing a recorded review, but writing a review for the F1 movie that I saw last night. I'm planning on writing that review for the site, either having it out today, which is Saturday, or Sunday. And yeah, I mean, we got a lot of releases coming up with Jurassic World next week. Superman will be here before we know it. Fantastic Four will be here before we know it. There's even some good movies, other movies in July and August, and some new shows coming out. Oh, that's when it'll be. Ironheart. Ironheart full review will be next week. I don't know if it'll be the day that it drops, because again, I'm busy. I have another job, but that will be coming out, and I'm not going to give any thoughts on that. You can see my thoughts on Twitter from the first 3 episodes, but I'm not going to give anything away. I will review Ironheart next week. That is a promise, either written or recorded, but probably recorded. So that will be the next time you hear from me. And yeah, I haven't seen Squid Games yet, but I don't think I'm going to review that because I've never reviewed Squid Games. I like the show, but it's not like a standout for me. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. You will hear a lot from me very, very soon. July will be a huge month. And yeah, see you guys on the next one.